that shit on the headlight.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Welcome to FINS TV, along with co-host Steve Hallett. I'm FINS Sammy, aka FINS Post on X. Steve, another week of FINS TV.
Sammy, how you doing today? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year's to you. I think what makes it a happy Tuesday, I'm going to start here on a positive today. We'll see how long we can keep this going, but I just want to give a huge shout out to all of our new subscribers, everybody that keeps on coming. How many weeks in a row now are we at? Around 7,000 or more views of our feature segment.
Three weeks consecutive. We're
absolutely
7,000 this week, so we'll be on 7,000 for the week.
It's absolutely incredible. We appreciate everybody who shows up to watch our live show, checks out our featured segments, keeps sharing the podcast with other people, showing up. We're not always doom and gloom. We're not always sunshine and lollipops, but I think we're a pretty good balance here, and I appreciate everybody showing up for what we do.
Absolutely. So we're going to go straight to it. On this episode, it's the ultimate challenge. The Dolphins face the ultimate challenge when they host the Bills on Sunday Night Football, no less, this week. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the matchup against the Bills. It's going to be certainly a tough matchup with the Dolphins. Not have too much luck lately. And also, we're going to do some confidence level. We're going to bring out the confidence meter on Mike McDaniel, Tua, and the Dolphins defense, Steve. So we're going to go straight to it since we're on location for the week. Let's go straight to it. The Dolphins.
We feel like we need to cover up the disrespect that happens out there. And I admit that I do it. You know, coming off of coming before this game, you know, we had talked about in December we were 3-1. You know, we were at 75%. And then we go up against this juggernaut, the Ravens. And you know what else is 75%? 75% of the time that the Ravens got the football on offense, they scored a touchdown. They faced very, very little resistance. And, you know, I think all game long, I think all of us were waiting for those typical Vic Fangio adjustments. What was going to happen? I think in games past with some of the challenging teams, we've seen one or two drives out of the offense where they move the ball a little bit, and then all of a sudden we just show up and start doing things differently. Maybe it was the fact that Xavier Howard fell down and he didn't get back up and he was carted off the field, getting replaced by somebody who's definitely not Xavier Howard in Eli Apple. But
Yes.
and I think one of the most aggravating things for me in terms of the defense and lack of adjustments that the Ravens, I don't know if they were brave, I don't know if they were arrogant, but they continued to run the same plays that worked before and faced little to no resistance. The first one was that running back swing out of the backfield that got called back after the OPI. And then they did it again and it succeeded almost immediately. And then the second time that I saw this was the tight end pass in the end zone to their tight end Likely. And then they came right back out and ran the same exact play with no resistance at all this time to their fullback. It was an epic tame loss, in my opinion. It wasn't one single unit that stood out as less than the other ones. Maybe Devon Achane. I got to give him a shout out. He showed up. He did everything that he possibly could, but it really just wasn't enough. It just wasn't.
Absolutely, Devon Achane even is considered for Rookie of the Week. That on the week where everything went wrong, Devon Achane certainly came to play. We've seen the story before. The Dolphins, I don't know why it always happened. That injury during the first part of the game, and it went downhill from that. But the Dolphins were in it. But after Tyreek dropped that ball, were like, is that 3 instead of 4? The there's some plays that sometimes you always remember when they happen. That certainly didn't change the momentum of the game, but for me, it wasn't the same game after he dropped the ball. But that might be just me.
Absolutely, and I think it was adding to the frustration. Sometimes one of the components, one of the phases of our game picks up for the other ones. In this one, I was almost ready to give special teams a pass because they really didn't seem to do anything wrong. But then you realize that we had a hold on a kick return. Barrios called a fair catch on a kickoff that was headed out of bounds. That's 15 yards right there.
Yes.
Sanders not kicking the ball out of the end zone on every kickoff, allowing them to get a huge kickoff return and give them more field position. It compounded. It was a snowball that started at kickoff. And again, once Xavier Howard went down and Tyreek Hill dropped that touchdown pass, the snowball got very big, very quick, and we did not recover at all.
Absolutely. So we're going to bring, without further ado, our esteemed panelists, the FINS TV crew of Matt Armstrong and Eddie Chaput. Good evening, guys.
Matt and Eddie.
Yeah, it was
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys. It was certainly a disappointment. The disappointment game for the Dolphins. We had so many expectations. We knew it was going to be a rough game. We were not way over their heads, believing that we're going to go there and pound the Ravens. But certainly we had different expectations. What is that with Matt? What are all your thoughts about the game?
Yeah, it certainly didn't envision it coming out that way. A week earlier, we had the Cowboys, who at the time were the darlings. The NFL, that's the team, America's team. The Dolphins aren't going to beat them because they can't beat a team with a winning record, and they ended up doing it. And I don't know if it was fool's gold. I don't know if it was, reading our own clippings. But the Dolphins, I think they were in that game. I think they were in it until the very easy, for his standards, catch in the end zone. Tyreek dropped that, and you just felt it happened on my couch here in my house. I just, oh my God, what just happened? And Claypool's drop, everything that Steve just mentioned, it seemed like there was a snowball and we were getting run over by it. And in the meantime, the clear MVP in the National Football League was dealing on the other side. He was dealing as if he knew what the defensive game plan was going to be. Every time the Dolphins broke their huddle, you have attrition with injuries. It was tough. It was not fun at all. But like they say, you have one day to either dwell on the loss or celebrate the win, and then you're back at it. let's not forget we're in the playoffs. Let's not forget that, okay? The season's not over. We're not in the hunt. We're in the playoffs. So I think there's a lot more to be excited about than just woe is me, the Ravens with we have an audience, so I'm going to temper my statement there. I think we're going to be fine.
So, absolutely. So some of our goals are still ahead of us. So I'm not going
Absolutely.
to throw the Arizona over the board, but we're going to talk more about that later. Eddie, I want to go to you. What are your thoughts about the game? There certainly was a disappointment, but I want to know what your thoughts about the game.
Like what Steve said, it was every phase of the game. After that drop by Hill in the end zone, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It took the air out of me. I got mad like right away, and I usually it's like, all right, they get a field goal. It's okay, no big deal. And the defense went out there. They stopped them. All right, they get a field goal. It's okay, That's me. But they stopped them. They got the ball back, and then they went nowhere. And then the onslaught came. It was one thing after another. And I'd like to say, well, it was Howard, him going down. Yeah, it was him, but we played without Ramsey. We've done well in earlier games without him and only having Howard. Look, they were down one of the best safeties in the league. Their best corner went out of the game. Their other corner went out of the game. We still couldn't take advantage of it. It was like, I don't know. It was like every player forgot who they were in that game. I swear. I mean, I couldn't find Achan, excuse me. That was it. I really couldn't see anybody that did anything extraordinary on that field. The linebackers were terrible that game, just terrible. There was a lot of finger pointing in that game, and I haven't seen that all year long. I saw Ramsey get mad. I was like, please don't start like you did in Jacksonville, Mr. Ramsey, please. But I saw finger pointing from him. I saw Elliott he just went over there and just screamed at Holland. I don't know what happened on that, but it's one of those games. Not only did we play bad, but I don't care what NFL team you put in that stadium against the Ravens, they were going to get their butts kicked because that team is rolling right now. I was wrong about them. Lamar is by far the best player in the NFL right now, and he did it from the pocket the whole time. So these people that say he's a running quarterback, he's not a running quarterback at all. That man can do whatever he wants with the football, and he's a pretty amazing player. Like I said, it's just a team letdown. Before the game, I'll end this now. I was watching the pregame. I watched the pregame on Fox. I don't like the CBS guys. Jimmy Johnson picked the Ravens, and he said because Miami would have a letdown. And I was like, how are they going to have a letdown going into this game? But, man, he was right. It was like he knew something. So who knows? Buffalo's this week. You win the division. You got home. You got a home game.
Well, Jimmy certainly knows about Dolphin letdowns because
Oh, yeah.
he had a few when he was a coach, but they're playing well. I remember one game in Indianapolis that was just garbage from when he was the coach, but she for sure knows about Dolphins letdowns. I want to go back to Steve. Steve, the Ravens certainly got the respect they deserve. The Lamar Jackson certainly cemented the MVP. If you ask me, they did what they need to do. We didn't lose to an inferior team like the Titans lost, but this game was certainly again, it was a disappointment. The Dolphins didn't look prepared. The I asked you before if you thought they quit, but we both agree they kept playing hard. You play hard, but they didn't look like the game plan was either. I don't want to say it was McDaniel's fault, coaching's fault, because I don't think this game for sure was coaching. I think that for sure maybe it was the holidays, maybe the traveling, maybe their heads went into it, and the moment was too big for them again. But I certainly expected a different outcome. Maybe not a win, but a better. The Dolphins looking better than what they did.
Whatever the game plan was, it didn't work out. It certainly didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt, Eddie, you guys bring up some great points. Matt, you brought up a horrible point here. I have a right to be disappointed days after a loss here. I'm still disappointed from the damn Titans. Don't shake your head at me, Matt. The Titans' loss alone keeps us from securing the number one seed and being able to go into next week right now and rest up the people who are hurting. We don't have that luxury. I'll give it to you, Matt. We need to move on, but I still can't look back at that and say there is no reason why we shouldn't have won that game. We didn't. Any given Sunday, the Titans had their moment there, and now they just straight up suck and they keep on losing. But Eddie, you brought up the defense, or the arguing. I saw it very early on. It was Jalen Ramsey. He was Holland had a rough game with his teammates. Maybe it was because he hadn't been out there for a few weeks. He was a little bit rusty or something. But very early on, Ramsey was sitting there one of the plays, and he was chewing at Holland. He was not happy with him at all, and I missed the Deshaun Elliott one with him. But yeah, I was hoping that maybe coming off of a huge victory on the West Coast that the Ravens were going to be on a little bit too much of a high adrenaline rush. Mm-hmm. Man, they were banged up. Their defense, I kept on saying, how can they be down this many of their starters and we're not capitalizing? How are we not able to find something that's going to piece them apart that they just can't answer for? And every time that happened, they collapsed the pocket. Every time that happened, it was a timely but very poor throw by Tua. And on the Tua point, I just, it's one of those things I just got to comment to say that last year we learned all too well that this team in its current structure goes as Tua goes. When Tua was not on the field last year, there was a drop-off. There's no doubt about it. If Tua's on the field, we win that playoff game in Buffalo. If Tua's on the field in a couple of the other games where he doesn't have concussion, who knows what happens with the Packers game. This year, we've had the unexpected luxury of having Tua start 16 games. He's getting ready to start his 17th and explode all the narratives that he is not a durable quarterback and he can't make it. But we have to call a spade when we see it, that when Tua is not there in himself, when he's not that precise dagger-throwing surgeon, we're not seeing the outcome in the results. And unfortunately, the rest of the team ends up following suit. And against inferior opponents, the defense can step up and we can walk out of there with a win and say, hey, we got out of there. Defense, thank you for stepping up. It's happened a couple times this year, but against a team of the Ravens caliber, the Bills caliber, the 49ers, the top teams in this league, if Tua is that off on these games and he's throwing a couple picks and he's missing a couple of those really good targets, we're not going to be able to survive. And we just have to hope that we're getting, we're in January now, we're getting into this last week, we head into the playoffs, Tua can work out those wrinkles so we don't have these, we don't have to have these tough conversations like this, Matt. I don't like disagreeing with you. I love you, man.
Absolutely. No, Steve is 100% correct. The margin of error is is bigger when Tua is not at his best, and if he's not at point and he's a little bit out of touch, the game can go off the rails very, very quickly. But Matt, I want to go to you. I want your rebuttal to what Steve just said.
I've known Steve a long time, and nothing he said surprises me, and I don't disagree with any of the things he just said. I will ask this question: how much time do you think the Ravens spent preparing for the Dolphins? A week, 5 days, 2 days?
I'd say a couple weeks because they were looking ahead.
That's the answer. But it's not because they were looking ahead. It's because they just played the 49ers the week before. And are there any similarities in those two offenses? The Ravens have been preparing for the Dolphins for weeks. So I am not at all defending the interceptions or the lackluster play, but I am going to tell you that an opponent that has had that much time to study an offense like the Dolphins, and they had weeks to study that offense, I'm not surprised at the end result. I was shocked that the number of players that they had out, it's really easy to sit there and go, we've got this, that guy's gone, that guy's gone, Ivan's gone. And what did they do? Their backups performed the way they're supposed to. It was as if they knew what we were going to do, and doggone it, they've been studying for weeks. I'm gonna close my session for this segment by saying it was a bad loss. I don't even remember how many points we give 50, 56, 59. It was an awful number. The Broncos gave up 70. These things happen. Teams get smoked in the NFL. It's great when it doesn't happen to the Dolphins. Sunday, it was our turn. We turned the page. It's Bills week. It's Bills week. And in DCA, Craig, not only that, but the Ravens wanted revenge from last year and probably for the last 2 years, man. Remember, we went cover zero in 2021 and made Lamar Jackson look like me. Like that dude had no answer at all for what an entirely different Dolphins defense did to him. So I agree with that. There was probably quite a bit of, hey, remember when they did this to us? It's over. It's Bills week, and that is the most important thing that we, this fan base, and the team that we love so much can possibly do. The Bills are coming, literally and figuratively. It's time to pay that bill. We win. We're AFC East Division champs. Oh, and by the way, all of you knuckleheads that wanted the Bills to beat the Chiefs, how's that working out for us now? If the Chiefs had done what those of us that wanted it to happen, we're not even that upset about this loss. They're already AFC East champs. But no, the Bills did what they had to do, and now they have a chance at AFC East division. They have a chance at being in that role and putting us on the road for the entire playoffs. I promised Sammy that I would be positive, and I'm going to end my segment by being positive.
Absolutely. Eddie, I want to know any last thought about the Bills, the Ravens game.
Well, that's a great point Matt just brought up about. I remember seeing all the,
Yes.
we need the 1 seed. Let's have the Bills beat the Chiefs. I was like, no, it's about winning the division first. It's always about winning the division first. And if it wasn't for a dumb University of Florida player, they would have.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Shots
Oh,
fired. Shots fired.
I just saw in the paper at the University of Florida, they're studying cow gas. Obviously, he was part of that experiment.
That's strike two.
But all seriousness, well, that is serious. Anyways, it's in front of them. They need to beat the Bills. They have to. They cannot go into this playoff as the 6th seed. They need to get that monkey off their back because it's a big monkey on their back right now. And the way they've performed against Buffalo has been bad. They need to go and show them what they are capable of. And they are capable of beating that team. I'm trying to be positive tonight too, but it's hard. The only thing I'm worried about is the way the teams have played against Philadelphia and made them look pedestrian. The Jets did it. The Cardinals did it. The way the teams made the Chiefs look not so good. I mean, that was a backup quarterback, and that was a tough game for them against Cincinnati. And not the Ravens. That's a whole different level. And Buffalo has struggled with everybody. Why are we so bad against these teams? And the loss to the Ravens reminded me of the loss to the first Bills game. It was almost the exact same thing. Score, then Bills score, and then we stunk. But other than that, I think they can right the ship. I hope they're fired up. They should be. I mean, they should be fired up. They should be firing on all cylinders this week. Other than that,
Absolutely.
Sorry, Steve.
You're good, man. I don't know where you live yet.
Steven, that's not about the Ravens game.
No, I'm good. I think we beat that dead horse enough. I'm moving on. Positivity, right, Matt?
Absolutely. But honesty is better than positivity.
Absolutely. A wise woman once messaged that on a YouTube live feed.
Well, on that note, I for sure have not lost all hope. Hopefully, there are many Dolphins fans who still believe that Dolphins can achieve some of the goals that are in front of us, like winning the division, playing in a home game, and winning a home playoff game. The Dolphins win on this week. All those are certainly achievable. So next, we're going to go to our feature for the week as the Dolphins face the ultimate challenge.
As a child, you would wait and watch from far away, but you always knew that you'd be the one that would while they all play. And you'd lay awake at night and scheme of all the things that you would change, but it was just a dream. From dust. From dust.
Well, welcome back to Peace TV, our feature for the week. The ultimate challenge of the Dolphins face the Bills after the disappointing loss to the Ravens. Co-host Sammy, with our co-host Steve Hallett, and the Peace TV crew of Armstrong and Eddie Chaput. The Dolphins certainly disappointed during the last week, but our goals are still achievable. The Dolphins in the playoffs, if they win on Sunday Night Football, they will win the AFC East, play a home game at Miami, and we'll go from there. So I want to start with Steve. It was a certain disappointment, but the Dolphins still can do some damage, still have some plans to play the playoffs, so to win the division. So certainly not all, if you ask me, not all hope is lost.
No, absolutely not. And I'll try to make my best case here that all hope is not lost. There's no doubt. Bottom line, a division championship this year would be an absolutely a great accomplishment. You know, you've got to ask yourself how many injuries are too many injuries to key players to overcome. What are the odds of, the Dolphins being who the Dolphins have been the last couple of years, winning a primetime game when all the eyes and all the lights are on us? The reality is the Bills are a fallible team just as much as we are. There is no team out there, maybe other than the Ravens, the last few weeks here that can't be beat, and that's been proven. So, I mean, the biggest thing here is the Dolphins didn't just set their goals on saying, "Hey, we want to make the playoffs." If that was the case, they would have sat all their players the past couple of weeks because we've been locked up since the Dallas game. There's absolutely no reason to say that we don't have an opportunity to go out there and prove the national naysayers wrong, a lot of our fan base wrong, and go out there and do something that they themselves have set out to do. I think that the second seed in the NFL is an incredible accomplishment no matter what. And going back to the naysayer type mindset of what's out there, I don't think anybody gives the Dolphins a chance to get there. Certainly nobody gave them a chance to be in this position from the get-go. Very, very few did, if any. And if the Dolphins were to be that second seed and were to go out there and put that stamp on a season with these injuries, with the adversity that they've faced, and go out there and prove that they do belong with that home field advantage and the AFC East crown, would we earn that respect? I don't think that there's any team, at least who's going to win the NFC second seed. The Cowboys, the Lions, you think that either them are going to get disrespected as a team that's a fraud, as a team that doesn't belong? I don't think so. But I think we've seen a lot on the Hard Knocks here. This team isn't playing for the national respect. They don't care about that. They're playing for each other. So I think that if they can go out there and put together the game that we know that they're capable of, put together 4 quarters, all 3 phases of the game, it's an absolutely monumental accomplishment. And I hope for this team, I hope for the fan base, but I hope for this team that they get what they've been working so hard for since they first got together in mini camps earlier this year.
So many great points. You're right on the money. A lot of the pundits didn't get the Dolphins any chance, not to win the division, not to even make the playoffs. So Matt has said it so many times before. Matt, I'm going to go to you. You've been all right on the money on that. Most of the media didn't give the Dolphins a chance to even make the playoffs, and the Dolphins are in the door. Certainly, if they win on Sunday, being the number 2 seed, win the division, and we'll go from there.
Let's talk about perspective for a minute. And like Steve just said, and Sammy, you just echoed, they were picked to be last in the division after they were in the playoffs a year ago with all of the chaos they had with injuries to the number 1 guy. They were still picked to be last. Is that disrespect? No, I just think it's people writing stuff in chalk, because the Bills, the Jets, the Patriots. But let's talk about reality. The Dolphins are 11-5 right now. If this was the old 16-game schedule, they're AFC East division champs right now. Who's leading the league in passing yardage? The league, not the conference, not the division, the league. That's right. Number 1 is leading the league. Who's leading the league in receiving? Okay, that guy's. Who just set a team record in touchdowns scored? Raheem Mostert. Dude's 31 years old. They've exceeded the experts. They've exceeded everything the experts ever said was going to happen. Injuries are a part of life. This is the NFL. And I can't remember the dude's name, but he said it's not for long, right? He said that, and nothing's ever been more true. And these guys are playing for themselves. They don't care about Shannon Sharp and whether or not Tua kept his receipts. They don't care about Colin Cowherd and his inflammatory smugness. They don't care about that. They care about each other. And you can see that every single game. Last week was awful. And I'm willing to bet that they feel the exact same way because of a missed opportunity to show that they belong with the number 1 team in the league. Steve and I had a disagreement earlier today. I think that the same result happens if they played in Miami. Steve is adamant that that is a complete fallacy. And, I could probably be convinced that he's right. Ultimately, though, this team is in place. I love this reference because it's such an old reference for those of us who have been on Twitter since 2009. In the hunt. In the hunt. How many years have we been in the hunt leading up to this coming week? The end of the regular season, in the hunt. And Barry Jackson, if this happens and that happens and that guy and this happens, oh my God, we're in the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. The Miami Dolphins are in the playoffs. Put it together, all three phases. You've got the number one quarterback passing yards. You got the number one receiver. Here's hoping that his running mate is healthy enough to play on Sunday. You've got the touchdown record holder hopefully coming back. These knuckleheads on social media that go off about fire them. I saw a guy that wanted Fangio fired. He wanted McDaniel fired. He wanted Tua cut. He literally wanted everybody gone. That baffles me because it's so dumb. If you are a fan of this team, you cannot possibly have anything other than positive feelings. They're in the playoffs. Anything can happen. Who remembers Mostert going off for 200 plus yards with the 49ers several years ago? I'd never even heard the guy, and he used to be a Dolphin. He used to be a Dolphin. Who is this Raheem Mostert guy? Once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. And I'm going to hedge my bet by saying this. Regardless of what happens on Sunday night, and God is my witness, I really hope we smoke Buffalo because, with the exception of one person, they have the worst fan base on the history of the planet. I hope
Love
to
you, Mom.
God we smoke them. But if we don't, Dolphins Nation, we're still in the playoffs where anything can happen.
Absolutely. If you go back to the beginning of the season, where the Jets were told to be, they want to win, they were going to win the division. The Bills were the champions. Nobody was talking about the Dolphins. If you told the fan base that you had the opportunity to win the AFC East Championship on the last game in Miami, on the first
Yes.
game of the season, most fans would have taken the opportunity. It's all about perspective. If you go back and you say after we lost to the Ravens, we're down. But if you go back and when the season started, everybody was picking the Jets and no one was picking the Dolphins, and they told you had the chance to be the second seed and win the division. If you win one game at home versus the Bills, 90% of the Dolphins fans would have taken that shot. More than 90% would have taken the shots. It's all about perspective. So I truly believe everything the Dolphins have wanted, all the fan base have wanted, is still within reach. It's hard with the losses. It's certainly hard, but there's still a lot. I for sure have no lost all hope. So I want to go to Eddie. Eddie, and I know it's rough. I know it's difficult. We had great expectations. I'm guilty of believing my own hype. I certainly had. I had dreams of Super Bowls aspirations, and you can feel that we were on that momentum. Right now, it's blurry. You don't know what's going to happen. But I certainly believe that there's still they have a chance. But I want to know your thoughts about where the Dolphins are headed right now.
Um, I believe what was the over or under, whatever you want to call it, from Vegas? 9.5 wins for
Yeah.
the Dolphins,
Yeah.
and I think
I think some even less. Mhm.
yeah, some were less, I believe.
Mhm.
Um, I had them, I think, winning 11 or 12, so they're right where my expectations were before the season. Because if you remember, all these idiots now saying their schedule is so easy, it was ranked the second hardest schedule in the league before the season.
Yes.
You don't know who you're going
Yes.
to play till you play them, what they're going to be. That's why preseason crap, like Matt said in basketball, like Duke is always ranked up there, or Notre Dame's always ranked up there in college football. Stuff like that happens all the time. You don't know. They're at 11 wins. They can have 12 wins. They can win their division. I think what I'm guilty of getting so mad is they were you get so up because they beat Dallas. I don't care if it was at home. Dallas supposedly stinks on the road. They beat a good team. So you want them to go out and follow it up and beat another good team with the Ravens. everything's right there for them. I just, if you, like you just said, if you would have told me they're 11-5, they're going into the last week, they can win the division, they're already in the playoffs. Hell yeah, I take it. You're freaking A right, I take it. And like, Matt just brought me back around to just be in the playoffs. Maybe you get a couple of them guys back healthy. Maybe Baker comes back. Maybe Hunt is fully healthy. Mostert, Waddle. That's a big difference on that field, no matter if you're away, if you're at home. So, yeah, they're right where they need to be, especially if they win this week. I hope they do, just so they get that home game, because God knows the city of Miami, not all the so-called fans deserve it, but the ones that are there every game deserve a home game. And I'd love for them to just whip up on somebody at a home playoff game.
Absolutely. That's a great point. So many fans that go to those stalls every single Sunday, support the team, buy season tickets. They're over there. They deserve a home win. Hopefully, the Dolphins will find a way to bring it. Stephen, any last thoughts about that?
No, well, Eddie, one really good point, one bad one. I'll have to get the bad one out of the way first. I'm just really curious as to why you placate to Matt's hate for Duke.
I
you
like
constantly deride. Yeah, you like him, but you just say, "Hey, Matt, I'm going to play into your dislike for them." And you always make him laugh and smile, but me, you always put down my Florida Gators. I will find out where you live, just so we're clear. But anyway,
I gave you the address. Come on over, man.
Come on, bring it, bring it.
What part? What did Eddie
walk
say
over here? We're going to go back with a limp, huh?
I'm leaving Florida on Tuesday. If you're gonna go at it, please do it before the time because I want to be in.
So what did Eddie say
go ahead,
that
Steve.
was inaccurate?
I'm just saying he's always making you smile and like he shake his head. He's always making me defend my Florida Gators.
I have gone off on every North Carolina quarterback that's ever been drafted as being junk. Have I not?
As you should, because they are. But
just like when Matt said, whatever this guy is, Fake May, is that his name? Is going to be the best quarterback.
Okay, to your good point. Eddie, to your good point here, hold on a second, Matt. Let me finish up here real quick. Not only did the Dolphins beat a very good team that was the national sweetheart in Dallas, they beat who is primed to be the number 2 seed in the NFC. Yes. They win this week. They are the number 2 seed in the NFC. So if we win, when we win against Buffalo, with a statement win and secure that home game, which seriously gives me chills, almost as many chills as that opening motivational video you showed there, Sammy. You shared it with me earlier, gave me chills. The second time around was no less. It was just incredible. So your work is always exciting for that. But in any case, no, they didn't just beat a great Dallas team. They beat a team that is primed to be the 2nd seed in the NFC. Matt, I'll let you go ahead now.
Hey, when you send Steve your address, can you send it to me too?
Everybody's welcome.
Hold on a second.
Again, guys.
Javonte Williams just scored another touchdown against the U.
Oh,
I can't say anything.
Please do it before Tuesday.
Are we going to do this for college football too? Because it's on then.
Well, we can do a spin-off. That's it. We can do that. So next we're going to talk about the Bills. Certainly, the Dolphins sometimes you don't match up well against a team. The Bills for sure has to have the Dolphins number the last couple of years, the physical team, but the football gods wanted the Dolphins the Bills not to face the Florida Sun, so they made it go to Florida in January, but that wasn't enough. Now it's a Sunday night football game. But I want to start with you, Steve. What are your thoughts about the huge matchup this Sunday against the Bills?
Absolutely huge, absolutely epic. Echoes of my youth growing up in Western New York, and they didn't even sell out their stadium then, so I had to sit there and listen to AM sports radio and cheer for my Dolphins against the Bills. But it's absolutely incredible matchup. It's what I think the NFL envisioned. The odds makers didn't. So many people out there didn't see it happening, but I really think that this is what the NFL was hoping for last week of the season.
Yes.
Something on the line, and they now flexed us into a spot where in the past I know Miami has not always been able to handle that spotlight. But it's no doubt about it. Buffalo and Miami always play each other very, very tough. And the game earlier this season, in a very hostile environment in Orchard Park, we went blow for blow up until we couldn't get back up off the canvas, and they kept on just rolling over us. And I think that's an experience, that's an opportunity for Mike McDaniel, Vic Fangio, and the players to step out and show again why they belong. And they've unfortunately not taken those opportunities earlier this year, last week. I think that they're going to come out with a set of energy that they probably haven't come out with in any of the other games this year. I think that they're going to show up ready to play against an extremely tough team.
Absolutely. That goes to the the comparison. The Dolphins still number one in total offense and number one passing offense, number five in rushing offense, while the Bills ranked number five in total offense, number 10th in passing offense, and 7th in rushing offense. The defense, well, the Dolphins passing defense now 12th, the Bills is 7th, the rushing defense for the Dolphins number 7, and the rushing defense for the Bills at number 15th, I believe. So, it's certainly it's going to be a hard matchup for the Dolphins. That they certainly play the Dolphins rough. Some say they have our number, but I truly believe the Dolphins have a chance. Matt, what are your thoughts about the game against the Bills?
My thoughts about the game against the Bills. What's their excuse going to be when they fly home to Buffalo with a loss? Because they've been crying about the sun for weeks and months, years now. Oh my God, the sun. It's as if
Kolosha.
it's almost as if we import the sun every year specifically for that game. Not one other team has ever complained about it. Not one. And maybe if they need some reference points as to what to complain about, maybe they can look back at their 0 for a decade against the Dolphins, or maybe they can look at their 0 for the Super Bowl. You know, let's have it, Buffalo Bills fans. Listen, I'll give them credit. They have a real NFL team, unlike that club down in the Meadowlands. But they're an awful fan base, and I don't know that they even deserve. Like Josh Allen he's a really good quarterback when he's not spraying it around to the other team 3 or 4 times a game. That's a good ball club. But what is their excuse going to be when we're AFC East Division champs and they're flying home to friggin' Buffalo? That's all I want to know. If anybody wants to enlighten me on that, you can reach me at, well, I'm not putting my address out there. Eddie, what's your address?
What are your thoughts about the game?
Eddie's the only one of us that's been a bouncer, so I'm sending them all to Eddie.
He's buff. It's a buff guy.
I have many scars. Many. Anyways, I was looking at Josh Allen's statistics from that so impressive win over New England last week. I believe he threw the ball 50% was his completion percentage. And of course, he lets the running back get all the way down to the 1 yard line, and he has to take it in himself so he can pretend he's Mr. Tough Guy. That's the fakest tough guy I've ever seen. Well, since Tom Brady, because he used to be the same thing, all Mr. Fired Up. And then if you touched him, somebody touched me. Now that's Josh Allen, the biggest flopper since LeBron. But
he's a flopper.
He is a flopper. But I don't know. They need to do something different. I always said that the Dolphins for years were built to beat the New England Patriots. They always played them tough. because the Patriots, I don't know, it was just that offense. Miami's defense and offense was, this was like they were beat. They always went 1-1 against the Patriots, no matter how bad Miami was. And somehow they overlooked the team that was coming up, Buffalo, who's much more physical than the Patriots, and that is giving us problems as the physical teams. But I do expect them to be fired up, and I do expect them. Somebody needs to go knock him around a couple times. In that, don't let him get comfortable and do his little throw from the sideline all the way across his body, because the man has, I don't care how much I hate him or whatever, he has some arm and he can make some kind of throws. You need to push their receivers around. You have to make Diggs get mad, and then he will just pout and not play the rest of the game. That's the key. Then he'll have to go to Gabe Davis, but we'll have to see who's covering Gabe Davis. I'm a little worried about that. They can absolutely take it to him, and I think they will.
Absolutely. Steven, any last thoughts?
No, we had a good time talking about some general stuff. Eddie, thanks for doing a good segue into the actual game portion of this. Hands down, we can't allow Josh Allen to do what he does. How many times have we seen him get in the grasp in the pocket, then bust loose and barrel some people over and tiptoe down the sideline? And like you said, as soon as somebody goes up there and just touches him or something like that, he flops on the ground and gets a flag thrown his way. We need to stick it to him. We need Zach Sealer. We need Christian Wilkins to get inside their heads. For God's sakes, last time Ramsey or Xavier Howard was out, they moved Ramsey on the alpha number one receiver. I fully expect that we will see Stephon Diggs shadowed by Jalen Ramsey this week. And I think that we'll see a good combination of safety and cornerback coverage on Gabe Davis, and really, truly just make them earn it. Make them earn it on the ground. I don't want to see them run for 200 plus yards on the ground with the Cook brother that still has legs underneath him. But I do want to see us make Josh Allen frustrated. That was one of the best things that we could ever do against Tom Brady, was get him frustrated, get him to the point where he didn't know what the hell to do with the ball. And we need to do that with Josh Allen and start forcing mistakes. And on offense, we just really need to have a flexible game plan. If they come out ready to slow down what we do best, have a plan B and be able to shift into it and stick with it until they try to stop that and then go back to plan A. We need to find some way to dig deep in this and come out with a W and own that AFC East crown this year.
Absolutely. Well said. So next we're going to go to FINS TV confidence level. So we're going to bring out the confidence meter. And let's start with head coach Mike McDaniel. Between high, medium, or low, I want to know your thoughts about your confidence level on coach. There's a South Florida personality who's been around a long, long time, who basically, we was almost close today to asking for Mike McDaniel to be fired. That's the only thing that was left for him to say. That the job is too big for him. I criticize coach so many times, but I truly believe he's the right man for the job. He's still learning. There's still some things he must do better. The challenges, the adjusting on the flights or some stuff. The game plan sometimes lacks a certain adjustment when the things go wrong. But I think we had the right man for the job. I'm going to start this time with Matt. Matt, what is your confidence level on Coach McDaniel? High, moderate, or low?
High. He's the absolute best coach for this club. Period.
How about you, Eddie? What's your confidence level for
High.
Coach Mike McDaniel?
It's high.
Absolutely.
It's way up there.
How about you, Steve?
Oh, go ahead.
How about you, Steve?
Man, I seriously feel like I'm in Negativeville here, and maybe I'm just a little bit too much a victim of recency bias, but I'm going to say average, and I'm going to say average because he needs to prove that he can be more flexible on a consistent basis. Seeing him consistently stick in ways that don't work all the time, I just need to see it a little bit more. So I'll say average, leaning towards high.
Please, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Eddie. Please elaborate a little bit more. What are your thoughts about the coach?
I think he's the perfect guy for this group of guys. I think they absolutely love him. I think they run through the wall for him. I think the big idiot who you're talking about, on South Florida radio needs to lose his job because he is.
He's not ready. He's not ready anymore.
Oh, he's podcast or
He's,
whatever. He's pretty much
yeah,
just on X, whatever he was. I remember he used to be on WQAM back then. But I mean, they're giving McDaniel a lot of crap. Especially, I wanted to defend him on something before we go to the big finish here. It is not his fault Chubb got hurt. If you heard what happened, then you would understand. He was in the process of going to the defensive guy and tell him pull all the starters out when our backup quarterback couldn't hand the ball off to the backup running back, so the defense had to go right back on the field and he couldn't make it over to tell him pull everybody, and the next play Chubb got hurt. That's what happened. I was mad at McDaniel. Why is he playing? But that's what happened. He was right in. He was sending all the reserves that he could. You only have so many players, but that was it. So I'm sticking up for him on that. I heard that and I was like, well, there you go. Not everything we see is what's real. So
absolutely. So next we're gonna go to, well, there's certainly gonna be a lot to talk about right now. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I want to know your thoughts, and now we're gonna start with Steve. Steve, what are your thoughts about the confidence level on the quarterback right now? But certainly, I'm gonna start. Um, I'm a huge fan of Tua. I do believe that he's the quarterback. He has some qualities that you cannot teach it. There's no way some of the things he does, Josh Allen can do, or some of the other quarterbacks can do. Uh, the quarterback for sure. When things get rattled, uh, he sometimes either he believes too much in the game plan, like we talked before, or he believes too much on what he was supposed to do, that he doesn't when things change too quickly, he doesn't improvise well. To his second read, sometimes he doesn't go to very too quickly. He certainly should. We should pay a lot more from him. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. He does. They definitely need to help him out with some of these things. My 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 confidence level is between high and moderate just because Last Sunday he had some opportunities. He could have done much better job, but I'm going to go high moderate. I'm going to rank a new level. I'm going to go next to Matt. Matt, what are your thoughts? What are your confidence level on quarterback to Kawala right now?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying about his performance last Sunday. I also understand that the best wide receiver in the league dropped an easy touchdown pass, and another receiver dropped a touchdown pass. Two things that may have changed the outcome of the game. Maybe it's not a 39-point loss. Maybe it's a 29-point loss. But my point is it's okay to lay some blame at his feet. Those are the kinds of things that what are you going to do? The other team's playing too. My confidence level in Tua is sky high, and part of the reason is I mentioned earlier, he's leading the league in passing. Tyreek doesn't do it without him, for those of you who think Tyreek is the MVP. And one more thing, which is I really should do some research on this before I actually say it, but there's something out there floating around that he would have even more better stats if he hadn't been benched in the fourth quarter of games that they have put away. And when you think about that, I was alive when Marino went for 5,048, and I remember being, oh my God, that dude just threw for 5,000 yards. And in my lifetime since then, I've not had a quarterback of my favorite football team even come close to that. As badly as we wanted Tannehill to succeed, and Steve, I know you are right there with me. We wanted Tannehill to be that guy so badly, All American, just the guy that you would want to be the face of your team. And did I mention he used to play wide receiver in college?
A couple times.
I never heard of it before.
I wanted so badly for us to have another. Brady's done it, and right now I'm having a brain cramp on other guys that have gone over $5,000. I wanted so badly for us to have another quarterback do that, and Tua is that guy. He stays healthy. I don't know that he'll challenge Dan's records. They might be out of reach, but my confidence level in that guy is sky high. And I'm going to close my statement with this. We've all seen that video from Hard Knocks of the game winning drive, him taking command of the huddle. It wasn't McDaniel, no slight to McDaniel at all. McDaniel let his quarterback, his team leader, take control. And even the subterfuge of talking to Barrios, when he was really talking to Tyreek, was so fascinating to me. That and him saying, "Let's go, let's do it, let's go." The confidence that he had, I have that same confidence in number one.
That's a great point. How about you, Eddie? What's your confidence level on the quarterback right now, Tua right now?
Almost high, right below it. Just he needs to step up this last game. He's been, I don't know, he's been off the last couple weeks. He had the great drive to get him into field goal range against Dallas, but Jeff Wilson had some big plays on that too. I don't know. Something's been off with him. I know he was off this week, and I think I saw it on your page, Matt. Maybe it was his thumb.
Yes.
Maybe it was. I mean, I'm giving him a hard time. What if his thumb hurt really bad, and that's why he was off? I really don't know, because McDaniel brought up a point about he didn't even know his thumb was hurt until the next day at practice, because that's just who Tua is. He's a tough kid. He wants to win. Lord have mercy. I hope as much as he worked on the karate and falling, which he's doing a great job, he still can't slide. As much as he's worked on that,
and even when he slides, somebody hits him from behind and hurts him.
Yeah, and it should have been called.
First time in his career.
Yeah. The thing he needs to work on is getting out of that pocket. Oh my God, he needs to increase some speed, lose some weight in that big butt of his, and get out of there. I mean, I know he needs the weight; it's better for him for getting hit. But man, boy does he struggle when he goes, especially to his right. I know it's just watching him. It's uncomfortable for me to see him run out to his right, and it's something he can work on. It's almost high level of confidence, because the man can make every throw he needs to make, no matter what the narrative is about him. He puts the ball in when he's on. He's as good as anybody. He can drop a ball in to anywhere he wants to, and nobody throws a timing route better than Tua. I don't care who they say they think they can, but when he puts the ball right where it needs to be, it's right on the guy's hands, and that guy is going. That's why I'm wondering about the last game. He almost got Tyreek killed again, though. Tyreek needs to go say something to him. So almost high.
Absolutely. How about you, Steve? What is your confidence level on the quarterback right now?
Here we go.
So we're going to break this into two chunks, because I don't think you guys really answered the question in its entirety, and I'll explain why. So let's look at it in a vacuum. Confidence in Tua by himself, Tua's performance against the Cowboys, Tua's performance when he is on target. He's second to none. His timing routes, you're dead on, Eddie. On that touchdown dropped, the Tyreek dropped, it was a dime that he threw before Tyreek even made his cut. Tyreek he knows the ball is going to be there because he expects it, but he doesn't actually know that it has left the quarterback's hand until he turns his head. He's got to get his hands up. In that vacuum, there is no quarterback better than Tua, and that confidence absolutely is sky high. The question we're asking here is, what's the confidence in Tua on Sunday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills? And in the recency of Tua having a couple off games, I really think some of it might have to do with the fact that Tyreek's cuts aren't always what they were because his ankles are sore. Waddle's not in there. He's working with a couple wide receivers. Cedric Wilson, got to give him props. He's really stepped up and made some clutch catches when he's needed to. But it's a tough divisional opponent, And I can't deny the fact that they are going to bring it. They have a blueprint for what it takes to uh, to shake the Dolphins offense and get them off their comfortable path. And I think that they're going to do that. I think that they're going to bring some heat. I think they're going to bring some looks that Tua may not be expecting. So I've got to say that I'm at a high to average confidence for him against the Bills this week, because it is in a primetime slot, which Tua has historically not performed well at. And he's just been kind of off a little bit in the past few weeks.
Yeah, we talked before. How about those games at night? Somehow it's like, it's not the same for two and the Dolphins. So we're gonna move quickly over here. So uh, our last meter, let's talk about the Dolphins defense. The confidence level of the Dolphins defense. Well, with the loss of Bradley Chubb and Xavier Howard likely to be out, uh, lots has to be said about the confidence of the Dolphins defense, but the adjustments sometimes lack of thereof adjustments of Big Fangio. So I'm gonna start with Steve very quickly. What are your confidence level on the Dolphins defense right now, Steve?
Okay, the recency of this tells me that they've lost just too many players to be really, really competitive. But I have to look at last game as an anomaly, that their communication, something just wasn't right the entire game. You could see it early on when Ramsey was arguing with Holland. Then, as Eddie pointed out earlier, Deshaun Elliott was arguing with Holland. Duke Riley had his absolutely worst game for the Dolphins. And the defensive line just could not get home. Zach Sealer got the one sack, but Lamar Jackson was having a picnic in that backfield, just thrown from the pocket. So you lose a couple players, you can find that depth in the diamonds in the rough that can sometimes come in to replace them. You lose as many big players that the Dolphins have lost, and I got to say that it's tough. My confidence level in the Dolphins defense, I'm going to say it's at an average right now. We have some playmakers in there still. We have what I think is still the top defensive line in the league. We still have Jalen Ramsey. Our starting safeties are still back there. So it's at an average right now, bordering towards high. We're just going to have to see them go out there and really smack Josh Allen in the mouth.
How about you, Matt? What's your confidence level on the Dolphins defense right now?
I think it's high, and it's a combination of what we've seen. We're coming up to the last game of the regular season. They are who they are. Emmanuel Ogbah has 5 sacks in like 5 games, including one in the very first play that he came in to replace Jalen Phillips. The combination also pertains to the guy on the other side that they're going to be trying to defeat. That guy helps the other team quite a bit, and it's critical. The theme here has been nut up, buckle down, whatever you want to call it. And, for once in your lives, this is it. There is no tomorrow. We've been talking that the playoffs are here. We've made the playoffs. I get it. But you did it against Dallas. Now's a chance. This is the team that they're pissed off. They don't think that you should be in first place. They want the division. They want to come down here and prove that they are still the big dog on the block. And they got a gift handed to them, and that they don't have to play in the sun. Oh my. So now for 60 minutes, buckle up, defense. Whoever starts in place of Xavier, this is your show, whether it's Apple, and I know that Apple gets crucified by everybody, and I'm even part of that group too. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, I know you can play in the league, do something. And Duke Riley, I changed my dog's name to Duke Riley so that I could beat it. I'm kidding. I love my dog. I've never hit her in my life. My confidence is high. It really is. I just need them to what does Eminem say that one time? For one night, just this is the one against the Bills. Josh
For one moment,
Allen,
yes.
just the Nike slogan, just do it. Put an entire fan base to bed. We win, they're out, right? Or does other things have to happen for them to be out? I think there's other things that
If
have.
the Steelers win and the Jaguars win and we beat them, I think they're out.
How awesome would it be to eliminate them with help from other teams? My confidence level is high. Um, they have so much riding on this. My confidence level is high.
How about you, Eddie? What are your thoughts? Well, your confidence level on the Dolphins is different right now.
Average, moderate, somewhere in there. The defensive ends need to show up. They need to stay home. They cannot let Cook go around the side or Allen or the tackles better play better than they did last week too for Cook. Like poor Matt's dog. Everybody was beating Duke Riley. I think my dad in his wheelchair with his bad leg and got by him, and he could have caught a pass on Duke Riley the other night.
Oh my God!
But anyways, he'll have a good game this week. We'll go with that. It's moderate. I'm worried about the other side of with Howard being out. I hope they do what Steve says. Please shadow Diggs. Please put Holland, hopefully, or Elliott, either one, on Kincaid because he's a big problem. He really is. And for some reason, Knox has 2 good games a year, and they're always against us. So watch out for him, too. But it's moderate. I think they're going to be fired up. I think Agba has something to prove this week because they sat him down last week, and he was not happy. So he can go out there and he can show them, why did you sit me? I am better. I think Ingram, they said, is getting into the flow now. He's in a lot better shape than last year, actually. So it's moderate to high. I'll go with that.
Now, this is the reason why the Dolphins brought Big Fangio in. This is Big Fangio's key game. He needs to put out the game plan. He needs to make some adjustments. I think Steve said it before. In this game, they find a way to put a Jalen Ramsey on the number 1 wide receiver with Howard out. That could happen this week. So we'll see what happens. So next we go to the big finish and the top 5 power rankings. It's so hard to do power rankings on a week like this. I'll be favorable to me. I was not feeling it, but I will still have to do it. So I'm gonna have the Ravens as a clear-cut number 1, the 49ers at number 2, the Cowboys at number 3, the Lions at number 4, and the Cleveland Browns at number 5. Just because I don't want to put the Bills at the top 5. I need you to 3 have a power rankings for the week.
Go ahead, Eddie or Matt.
I'll go. I got the Ravens 1 through 5, and then now the Ravens, San Francisco.
No,
you can flip Dallas and the Lions. They're about the same team. That was a crazy ending to that game. You got to put the Browns up there, even with Flacco. I think he'll choke in the playoffs, but that's my thought on that. But they're up there. That defense, they're tough. And whoever else you want to throw in, it's just a cluster of the same team everywhere. Kansas City, Miami, Philadelphia. They all look the same to me right now.
That's exactly why the season is not over.
Yep.
That cluster crutch. That cluster fuck. That you have in there so many teams they're the same. So anything can happen. Matt, you have a top 5?
I do, but Eddie stole it. I literally was going to say it's the Ravens and everybody else after that. The Ravens are number 1 without a doubt in my mind. And I'm glad to hear other people say the Browns because I do not think the Browns are a team to overlook, to take lightly in any way, shape, or form. The fact that they have Flacco and that dude's been in the wars for 15 years or however long he's been in the league, that dude's a problem. I know he's thrown a couple picks since he's come back, I love the story. He was sitting on his couch. I especially love the story that the Jets needed a quarterback and they never ever called the guy. What a dumb organization.
It's because they're not a football team.
They're not a football.
called
Come on,
them.
Matt.
He called them, and they said no.
Yes, I read
I heard that.
So they deserve every ounce of misery. That fan base, that club, all of them, they deserve it all. Anyways, I do not think the Browns should be trifled with, and that's why they're my number 2 team.
Oh.
The 49ers are number 3. I'm going to put the Cowboys at number 4. And the Detroit Lions, I think that they are of the same fabric as the Browns. Jared Goff is not to be messed with. That dude's got skill and he has weapons. And if they get a good break, anything can happen. We've already talked about that. The Lions should not be overlooked either. So that's my top 5.
How about you, Steve?
We'll just keep it kind of the same here. We'll go Ravens, 49ers, the Browns. I don't think anybody should be doubting them right now. Flacco is open up in David Njoku, something that is an absolute beast, and it's incredible what he's been able to do there. Detroit, I have them at number 4, but I do question their ability to, when it gets into the playoff outside cold weather, I'm not too sure how they're going to play. They have the comfort of the dome and everything, and then I'll put Dallas in there at number 5. So
absolutely. Next time we think we got screwed, just as a Lion fans, after what happened in that game, that was completely horrible.
That was epic.
And also, that was stunning. And the other thing, if you are an Eagles fan right now, after being number 1 so many weeks, do you think the Eagles fan and the Eagles players believe they're out? They're certainly. I'm sure they still think they still think they have a chance. If they have a chance, the Dolphins also have a chance.
Couldn't happen to a better head coach.
Absolutely. That jerk. We certainly have a couple of good weeks. The feature for the show has certainly go over 6,000 views every single week for the last 3 weeks. We really appreciate it. We can reach us on social media, on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We have even a playlist of the songs we use on the show. So if you're on Apple Music, you can download the playlist and you can listen to the same shows that inspire the FINS TV headlines. So it's been a great year for Dolphins football. So a lot of things happened. The culture has started to change for good. I truly believe we're on the steps of a whole new era of Dolphins football. So many new fans, so many kids are now Dolphins fans from not only from Florida, from all over the world are right now Dolphins fans. So on the bright side, it's been was a really good year. 2023 was a really good year for the Dolphins. I still have not lost any faith. I still think the Dolphins have a good chance.
Agreed. No, you bring up a very good point that. I was just going to say, you bring up a very good point that winning in an environment like this, it creates a new generation of fans. And I think it's incredible to see all the different social media of people, their babies and their children and their grandchildren, everybody with, Dolphins gear and everything. It's absolutely incredible. And it's been a fantastic year. We picked a very, very good year to get this podcast off the ground. And we've had a fantastic time doing it and celebrating the successes and working our way through the tough times. So it's been great.
Yeah, I went to Universal Studios last weekend. I counted over 35 Dolphins fans. By far the team with the most gear anywhere. It's been revitalized. The Dolphins fandom is certainly on the up. So it was a great year. Hopefully the Dolphins win this week. We claim the AFC East. I'm very hopeful. I still think they can do it, and we'll go from there.
Excellent.
So until next week, as always, remember that when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Fins up, baby.
Fins up. Playoff edition next week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there you go.